Alright, first of all, yes, glasses. So, we are going to go to the hardware stores and pick up things. I made a list of the things I need on the envelope. Then I will walk through the hardware store in my glasses with my envelope. And I will select things. And I will not question myself too much. There's actually a really, really nice woodworking and furniture hardware store, hardwood store. They sell fancy wood. Woodworking store. They're called woodworking store. But I'm afraid to go there. I'm making a pink harp. I hope nobody's surprised. Maybe I'll take the camera in. I decided I'm just gonna tell people that I'm on Skype if they ask why I'm filming. I'll just be like, it's a Bluetooth camera. Because you know what? You can just lie to people. Like, there's nothing stopping you from just lying to people. Okie dokie, folks. So we dropped a good 30 bucky in sandpaper and drill bits. Is that literally all I got for 30 bucks? And then I had to buy a whole multi-pack of these, but that's okay because I usually use my paddle bits for, Am I going all the way through?
Yeah, needs a hole all the way through.
That's not even as messy as I thought it would be. You don't have an apple corer and you want to make stuffed apples, and you always need sandpaper. It doesn't matter what project you're working on, just buy a shitload of sandpaper. So as some of y'all might be aware, I am a very awkward person. Guys. And I went into Home Depot, I found wood. The battery I grabbed for my camera that I thought was working was, in fact, almost dead, so it did just die on us. That's my hand. So we're gonna switch over to phone. I did the thing. See, I work in a fabric store, so I'm familiar with being on the other end of this thing, which is the thing where you grab the things you like, you didn't check the price, and then you realize it's sold by the yard or by the foot. It gets up there and it's like $100, and I was like, ah, shoot. Yeah, I just didn't check prices. Sorry, I'll go put it back. No, we'll go put it back. I know, because I have that conversation a lot. And then instead of admitting that I was wrong, I have left Home Depot and come back to Lowe's so that the people here don't have to know that I made a mistake. Which is really funny, because I'm on the other side of this all the time, and I really do not give a shit when someone comes up and they're like, oh, I didn't realize that that was sold by the foot, and now it's $167. Now we're at Lowe's, and if I make an idiot of myself in Lowe's, I didn't even make an idiot of myself, but you know. And if something bad happens at Lowe's, there are like 16 other of these places I can go until I can find pieces that I like. Because I just really don't want to go home right now. Because I wear contacts all the time, I had not fully appreciated the mask steams up my glasses moments until today. It's really annoying when you're trying to read the text on something and then you exhale and your glasses go, oh, right, you can't read the text, it's too foggy now. So, this is where we live, this is what we're doing, we're now in Lowe's. Okie dokies, which, fun fact, I didn't say okie dokies until I started working my current job, and now it's just part of my vocabulary and I hate it. This Lowe's is playing Giants by Lights, so this has been blessed by the Keytar gods. I remembered why I liked buying wood at Lowe's better than Home Depot, and that is that Lowe's has huge selections of pre-cuts. I have this thing where when I go into the big box hardware stores, I'm always really hesitant to get help from anyone, and I know why this is. There's a couple reasons, and some of them are even decent. Part of it is that I make weird stuff, and so someone will say, hey, what are you looking for? I'm like, I need a plumbing fixture that is exactly this size, but I don't know what it's for. And that's not really useful. I know this because I'm a retail associate. So I try to just kind of stay out of everybody's ways and do things on my own. And the other thing is that, you know, 80% of what I know how to do, nobody ever taught me. I just kind of, you know, looked up how to do it and then tried to scale it back to what I thought was just beyond what my skill level was. And as I do that level up, it's living life like a video game. It's fucking hot. That's better. That means that a lot of the time, what I'm doing, I don't really fully know how to do. And I've encountered this enough times that it's very frustrating to see again. And that is that I will run into someone who thinks that they're helping, but they're also really excited to tell me everything that I don't know. So, for example, I've had cases where, you know, I've got this right there that says pine harp. And I've had cases where I would have something like that in my hand, and then I grab something that I know I want. For example, I got poplar, I got tulip wood there. That's not pine. And I have someone say, hey honey, that's not pine. I'm like, oh, I forgot that you knew what I was doing with my project. Thanks for getting involved. Which means that a lot of the time, if I want to keep my project, for a huge portion of my crafting life, if I'm buying stuff in the hardware and I want to keep my project as my project and not have it be whatever really well-intentioned person who's helping me, kind of taking over it and putting in a lot of input about things that I was pretty sure I knew how to do. And then it's not my project anymore. Which means that now, as an adult, when I go into a hardware store, the number of times I'm like, I know how to do these things and this is what we're gonna do, is just what happens. So we are going to go, we're gonna get gas. We're almost out of gas. And yeah, I did just drop 50 bucks on poplar pre-cuts, but you know what? They're pre-cuts, they fit in my car. I know John said you can make the harp with pine, but I just wanted something harder than that. Botanically speaking, balsa wood is a hardwood and yew is a softwood, and I hate it. Ace did not have what I needed, but I love this Ace hardware because it's the only place I know that has 5 rows of stacks of boxes of tiny things. You're like, I don't know what size thing I need. Let me go to Ace and just look at all of these boxes of stuff. Like, that's on the list of things that everybody touches and nobody sanitizes, but whatever, you live on the edge when you go in a hardware store. So for everyone who is wondering, yes, I do have really bad vision and I wear contacts all the time because with how thick my glasses are, they make my eyes shrink like 20%. So here we are, we're back at my house, it's empty and dark, and so I can complain about all kinds of stuff. So for those of you who remember way back when I built this harp, this is the Music Maker's Smartwood harp, this is the tulip wood version, which I then stained very dark. So in the spirit of that, I got tulip wood for this harp. Where did I put the wood? Where did I put the wood? Which I got because Lowe's did not have any pine or whitewood that wasn't super naughty. I said, you know what, fuck it, poplar's fine. That's what we're doing. My framing's kind of wonky because the screen fell off this camera and it's being held on with a rubber band. Last time I built this harp was because after another coat, that'll be awesome, which is great, because I got fired today. And I just stressed out and did that. Well, I'm not ashamed of what she did, so I don't feel like I should keep it a secret. Without really... And then she decided she's staying. So on the one hand, that's nice, but on the other hand, I now have somebody who has hurt me, but I don't have the closure of having them be distanced while I recover from the fact that someone did that. So, instead of saying, oh hey, it's funny, Pink, it's like you're, stress building a harp, but your thing that stressed you out isn't even real anymore, it's like, no, now it is both real and I'm not allowed to recognize that it happened. So let's make a motherfucking harp. So, fun story, I, mostly do sewing patterns, and so doing this was probably really inefficient the way that I did it, but you know, that's what we're doing. Did you know that YouTube can mark your content as advertiser unfriendly if you do something in a particularly unsafe way without disclaiming that it was not safe? Did you know that there's a reason why I did not record how I just jigsawed this currently Yaoi paddle out? I went to cons back when Yaoi paddles were a thing. It was a dark time. So yes, I roughed it out with my jigsaw, and then I am just going to do all of the shaping with the palm sander. That's my plan. You guys can do whatever you feel like. Every single time that I use the jigsaw, I think the safest way to do this is to overcut and then sand it down, and then I forget that sanding it down is a huge ordeal, so we have been getting very friendly with the box plane. So you can see my pile of planing here. This isn't actually a box plane, it's a sous form, but I couldn't find a good box plane for cheap. There's 4 pieces I need to cut out, and I'm not even trying to shape this and smooth this out yet. Ooh, that's a nice gash. That's gonna sand out. This is currently just getting things the right shape. And I kind of want to get this done by the end of business today. So we're gonna have to have some fun with this. We had to break out the rasps and the coping saw. We're gonna get into that in a minute. But I just wanted to, give you guys an update as if you're watching this live. So I want to say that if I was doing jigsawing unsafely, and I may or may not have sawdust in my eyes, obviously we're not doing anything unsafe here because we don't want to get demonetized. But if I was, it would definitely not be kneeling down on that step there, putting my full weight on the piece, and then sawing vaguely towards my fingers. That is not what I would have been doing. So now I have these 2 pieces, and I need to make them match perfectly, which is going to be a little bit of work. If you're wondering why I didn't just stack the two pieces and cut them out as one, it's because I'm pretty sure my jigsaw could not handle that. It was from Harbor Freight. And then once we're pretty close, we will clamp them together and we will sand them as one until they become one. And also, this is the most important part for me, because if I build this neck properly, I can later swap out for a better sound box that I can make when I have better tools and things like that. So this is the part that has to be really good, and unfortunately it's also the really complex part. Trust me, you watching me do this for 3 hours, sorry, it's better if you can see what I'm doing, for 3 hours is not going to be entertaining, and I want to listen to music, so I'm not going to record that because I don't want to get, as previously mentioned, I don't want to get demonetized on this video. I dropped like $200 on this, so maybe if I can get a couple dollars back from YouTube AdSense, that'd be real great. Fuck, how do I turn it on? Okay, so I cannot proceed with this without a functioning drill, and my drill has gone rogue, which usually means I loaned it to someone and they did not give it back to me. Considering that it was a $14 drill from Harbor Freight, I'm inclined to just go to Harbor Freight and get another one. So we are going to delay this project for slightly longer. Shouldn't be stepping on it, but here I am. I should probably have sat down before I'm doing this because now I'm at this weird angle, like I'm crawling out of the screen towards you. I'm just gonna say that yesterday was the day that the, I'm not a cat judge, is... Honestly, that was the COVID meme we needed and deserved. I'm not sure these are meant to do what I'm doing with them, but it was $6. Okay, so we have just had my palm sander, which has always been kind of funky on the switch. You need to sometimes turn it on and off 3 or 4 times in order for it to turn on. And it, as you can see, has decided that maybe it's dead. So we might be sanding the entire rest of this project by hand. And if that's the case, we are going to say that this is a good enough match, considering that these are going to be separated by about 3/4 of an inch. Maybe once I sand the whole thing by hand, it'll pop back up and be like, oh right, we're better now. Can't you tell I'm thrilled about this? This is so exciting to get to do the whole thing by hand. And, like, for those of you who remember, this particular palm sander was, for reasons I don't understand, left outside in a bucket of water for probably several weeks. So the fact that it worked up until this point is very nice of it. Very kind, greatly appreciated. So now over here on the top of our, I swear it's not a Yaoi paddle, I have to get this tenon here to be the same size as the post. And since clamping the two pieces together and then sanding worked really well before, we're just gonna do that again, except because I don't have my power sander in a functional state right now. Thanks, power sander. And you might say, Pink, shouldn't you clean up all of those spills down on the ground, all your, sawdust and things like that? And yes, I should, but I think it'll be really fun if I leave it until the very end and then sweep it all up in one big pile. I feel like that'll look good for the YouTube, so that's what we're gonna do. I don't know. Can I just do it with, like, my fret saw here? And just, like, waddle my way down? What's the best way to do this? What's your plan for this, Quirrell? Now the chair's gonna smell like dirty clothes. So it turns out that the right tool for this was a chisel, and that I actually did have a chisel because I bought a bunch at the same swap meet where I got my Roosbeck harp, and I don't remember why I bought them, and I don't believe I'd ever used them up until this point, but it turns out that I needed a chisel for this job, and I had one, so yay being a hoarder. I figured out why it doesn't work. This is my palm sander. It wasn't fucking plugged in. Okay, so it's now been, we're approaching the middle of day 2. It is 1:54 p.m. on day 2, and I have 3 well cut out and sanded pieces. This is the sort of thing that would have taken someone with the, you know, like a band saw and a belt sander You know, probably 2 hours tops to do. I'm gonna cough. Maybe I'm inhaling a lot of dust. I shouldn't be. I keep forgetting to put my mask on. Actually, that's not true. I take my mask when I go into my own house. I put it on automatically, and then I do what I need. I come back out here and take it off. That's just the system I have now. So now we can get to the actual fun of, you know, building the harp. I am very proud of the work I've done so far. Let's read the instructions and do the next step. Okay, so I drilled all the holes without a drill press, which is a guarantee that some of them are a little bit wonky. But you know what? I don't think it's going to matter a huge amount. We have spacers, and I finally get to go into the bags of hardware that I got for this. Strings, more tuners. Is there... Am I missing... Oh, the other stuff is just in the string bag. I forgot. So I have 2 1/4-inch bolts. Where are they? Washers and eyelets. Strings. 2 screws for the foot bolts. Is there something else missing? Did I lose something? Okay, I guess I'm gonna go look for more pieces that I missed. I don't know if, this is a piece that's missing because of me, or a piece that's missing because of something else. There's also a very good chance that Davey did include the bolts, and I have managed to lose them. I worked pretty hard to not do exactly that thing, but, there's a chance. So, remember when I said we didn't need to go to Ace, but I love them because they're the place that has all those teeny tiny little screws and boxes, and you can just, you know, go and find them. We're gonna do that. Like, I can find screws. I'm a big kid. It is 3 o'clock, which means I have about 2 more hours of light out here. We are going to leave everything in this state because we can. Okay, 4:35 p.m. and we have returned with not just 1/4-inch bolts, but barrel nuts. So these are better than regular. Can we not, please? I'm YouTubing. We're not going back to the hardware store today. Okay. After saying that we are adults and we're not going to cry over the size of Chicago screws, we have our 2 long screws in here, held together by clamps, so that we can drive all those dowels, and then we can get the right size screws tomorrow, after work. We have to go back to work tomorrow. Back when I did the pink hair video, I forgot to mute the audio on one of these, and it just played Nightcore version of Mulan. And I wasn't going to do that, and I didn't do time-lapses for most of this because this is actually really boring to watch as a time-lapse, but the actual process of driving in the dowels and sawing them off with my little flat saw there was actually interesting to watch, so here you go. Here's me doing that. That's it. There we go, we're done. Oh, and we're still going. Now we're done. So if you're here to ask me why everything that was on the side porch is, in my house now, it's because it rained, and it started raining while I was at work, and it rained for about 3 hours, and everything that I had set up out there just got completely soaked. Also, I got wreath in my eye today at work, and it's just has not stopped watering. So we're gonna be wearing glasses, hopefully not wearing glasses at work tomorrow. I would lose my mind if I had to have my glasses fog up every time I exhale. So then I woke up and my eye looked like this, and I just want to say to everyone who wears a mask with glasses that I am in awe of your strength, because doing it for 4 days almost drove me completely nuts. I'm off on Saturday. Hopefully it won't be raining and I can get some stuff done. Yeah, the heart pieces seem to be fine. Posts, the Yaoi Paddle, the neck, they're all doing okay. Okay, so full honesty, we had a bit of a mess, and by we, I mean me. It was just me. It was just my fault. And then while I was at rain, it started raining. So thankfully, most of it has dried out pretty well. It's been about 48 hours? Yeah, about 48 hours. The brand new drill that I had to buy because my other one went rogue, totally fine. The palm sander that previously was in a bucket of water for, my mother has assured me was a matter of months, is okay. The main loss that we have had is that I cannot find the instructions, which is unfortunately kinda a big deal. This is legit the most complex woodworking thing I think I've done without having somebody supervise me. Like in stagecraft class, we made ducks. You made a duck and it had wobbly wheels and you'd pull it on a string and it'd do that. We made those. But I had somebody who was watching me and saying things like, don't put your hand there, you'll cut your finger off. So this is the most complex shape I've ever built. We will proceed with my favorite step, which is sanding. That is where we are. I gotta clean up, because I came home and just took everything out here and threw it inside. Yes, so because I have stolen silica gel packets for a long time, I, had a bunch and I could take all my tools and throw them in silica gel packets, and that might have saved them. I like sanding stuff, so we're gonna do that. I'm not gonna make you watch me do that. I don't know where my safety goggles went, but I was wearing them on my head like a headband. They could be literally anywhere. I'll find them as soon as I finish sanding. And here's the first test fit of the harp, and the second you put it together, you don't want to take it apart because it looks like you're done. Okay, so we're waiting for the results of my Twitter poll so that I know what to do with the post. Yeah, there's no more context than that. We still got like 39 minutes left in my Twitter poll, so again, me sanding just looks like me sanding. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, it looks the same. Couldn't find any pine that wasn't incredibly naughty. There's only one thing that's allowed to be incredibly naughty in my life, and that is Manny. I'll probably edit that out though, because I don't want to give him any ideas. John Kovac seems to be such a kind-hearted person, who he built this harp design specifically so that people who can't afford or can't make harps could have one in their life, and that's the most pure intent I've ever heard. And then here I am, son of a bitch, while I try to assemble it. And then I'm gonna put a video of that on the internet where potentially John or Davey might see it. I was gonna say hopefully not, but like also if you guys are watching it, hi, I'm sorry. Fun fact, my favorite Gin Blossoms album is not actually the new Miserable Experience, which is everybody else's favorite Gin Blossoms album, but I'm a really big fan of Congratulations, I'm Sorry. The framing in this whole video is gonna be terrible, but you know what? We're gonna put it on the internet anyway. Healthy brains, normal people, sometimes get depressed feelings, but they don't get clinical depression. Clinical depression is not a thing that your brain is capable of doing while it's healthy. And, manic episodes are not a thing your brain is capable of doing while it's healthy either. It's starting to get dark, so I got a limited amount of time to do this, and then I'm taking everything inside. Did you know that IKEA bags are ideal for transporting swans? IKEA bags are also ideal for transporting your entire project inside. Here's where I left the camera out in the rain again. We interrupt this build of a harp to bring you Midi the Keytar Cat. What you doing, car keys? Hmm? Midnight. Hi. Okay, so here we have the greatest box ever. Not for Bean Boy. And in this, we have... My camera cannot capture how pink this is. It's pinker than my hair. Not many things are pinker than my hair. And this one, which is clearly purple. And now it's pink. And this is going on the harp. And then we can prime it. Then we can make it color change. Because that's my plan for the day. I just want to make a harp, and I want to make a harp that changes color. That's really all I want today. Easiest way to do round over is with a router. I don't have a router. I own a jigsaw, a palm sander, and a corded drill. And I abuse them. I can't be trusted with a router. Did you know that me sanding and painting looks exactly like me sanding, so it's really boring? Oh, that lighting's bad. This lighting's bad. This lighting is less bad, but still bad. But now I don't trust it to not rain even when Google says it's not going to rain. Those of you who don't spray paint very often, there are two phases of spray paint. There is the part where the paint dries, and then there's the part where the paint off-gasses. And they are still they're dry to the touch, but they are still going to be off-gassing So, we are going to play a game called Can I Remember to Bring the Painted Pieces in an hour? And yes, we set an alarm on the phone. We did do that. But I will still forget. Also, just as a side note, the pinkest pink paint ever, as someone who is an authority on the color pink, is the pinkest pink paint that I've ever seen. And it's available to almost everybody. Come on, camera, don't have a broken zoom yet. Hang on a sec. Teensy buttons. Okay. Okay, so we dropped $30 at Lowe's, as we sometimes do. Purdy brushes are expensive. Got wood filler. That's real wood filler, like adults use, and not just mixing sawdust. Sorry to Jerry Brown from harpkit.com. And then I got a matte sealer. I don't know if the matte sealer is gonna work, but it's not all that often that... Where the fuck did I park? Where is my car? We just can't go back to Home Depot because of that last incident. Oh my god, I didn't even lock my car. All painting looks the same and it is boring. Would you believe it if I told you that the next step was sanding? Because the next step is sanding. I will never stop being amused by the fact that when it dries, it gets significantly brighter. We are pre-painting this with pink before we put the phase on it, because again, expensive. Hot water. Purple cup. Look at that. Look at that. Now it's pink. I am pretty confident that it's not gonna rain, so I'm gonna leave everything outside. You're not supposed to, like, leave this out in the sun because it, can stop working, which is fine. We're already breaking the laws of physics. I'm okay with keeping this as my inside harp. Because we gotta sand, you guys. We gotta sand. So I'm sitting here in my laundry room, holding this, like this. First of all, yeah, it's turning pink in my hand. Because I didn't think this through when I started painting this, where you're painting a stick, so you hold the stick while you paint it, and then you have to hold the stick until it's dry. So we're gonna do that. Every time I come in the laundry room and things this color are just sitting here, it feels like a joke, or like, oh my god. Is it Spy Kids? Where there's the world where everything's just like the crazy bright colors. It feels like I'm in a children's play place. Anyway, we're letting stuff dry, and then we're painting, and then we're letting stuff dry, and then we're painting, and we decided to move indoors now. And also, yes, to everybody who's been wondering, that is really asymmetrical up there. There's no structural advantage to that. I just did my best, and that's where we got. Okay, as things get more and more neon, we will do the final coat on the other side, because it is 2:47 p.m. and I want to have this harp assembled by end of business tomorrow. End of business being whenever I pass out. Here we go. This is not capturing how pink this is. If I can protect this from dents and dings and things like that with a good clear coat, I want to do that. But if that is going to undo the magic of the $27 I spent on paint, I don't want to do that. It's just so much fun. I didn't know I was ready to cut out a shape this complex, but clearly I was. What is that? Why do I have things on this? The reason that you're not seeing my face is that I am halfway in between bleaching my hair and dyeing my hair. And I just thought it'd be really bizarre side effect to just get up to me and be like, oh, this is weird. So anyway, I thought I was having problems using this paint, and it turns out I was just skimping way too much on the powder pigment, which was because I felt like I didn't want to waste it, and by doing that, I wasted quite a bit of super base, so it turns out we just, you know, can't win on that. Watching me paint things is just as boring as watching me sand things. Also, the tripod's in the other room, and I didn't feel like filming another time-lapse. Like, I don't fucking know how to do anything. I just find a project that I think is one step beyond what my skill set is, and then I teach myself that one step. and then I know that, and then I can do the next project. And I just do that with everything. So that's how I know how to make a harp. Alright, so look, I'm a simple girl. I like just cutting my own hair in the bathroom mirror, and then coming here and painting acrylic finishes onto my magic color changing harp that I built in my garden, like normal things. But I am haunted right now, I realize, because I'm brushing this on and my head brought back a song from my 5th grade play, America's Tallest Tales. And I didn't realize that's what it was from. I'm just sitting there kind of singing. I'm just like, load 100 boxcars full of lumber. Douglas fir and maple would be fine. From the engine to caboose, stuffed with walnut, oak, and spruce. Get you in, babe is mooing. Get going, babe is lowing to come home. But that is what came out of my head as I'm just trying to paint clear coat on this stuff. The reason why I was like so hesitant to talk about all this is that I'm 80% sure I'm going to be doing something where someone's going to be like, well, you know, the whole point of using super base is that it's super, super matte, and then if you put a regular matte instead of a dead flat finish on it, you're going to be changing your whole ecosystem in the paint, and then your heroine's not going to inject properly or something. And I've always like hesitated, like, did it? I'm not here to paint a sculpture, I'm here to make a harp. Does it change color? Did maybe I go about it in a slightly inefficient way in terms of money? Yes, but inherently, buying a harp is silly. Making a harp is sillier. Making a harp that color is silliest, and I'm gonna fucking do it. So the last harp that I did, I covered with standard, non-modified, good ol' regular polyurethane that you need turpentine to clean up, and it was a really good result, but for some reason, Lowe's, when I went there for 6 minutes, did not have matte polyurethane, so we got Minwax polycrylic. I say, picking it up with my foot like a normal person. And the good thing about Minwax polycrylic, it turns out, is that there's no recoat time. It's recoat after 2 hours. And a lot of stuff will say recoat after 2 hours or before 24 or something like that, where there is actually a time frame. So it starts to cure and you can put something else on top of it, but then it hits the second phase of curing, and then if you put something on top of it while it's in that phase, it just won't ever cure. It'll get sticky, it'll get hazy, things like that. And so the fact is, the polycrylic, I can do a coat of this and then I can just go to sleep. And then I can wake up, and it doesn't matter how long it's been, because it's been more than 2 hours. I can flip it and do the other coat. And that way I should be able to have the whole thing done by tomorrow, knock on wood. Okay. Yes, I took my pills, it's fine. So, here's another thing. And this isn't me trying to say, like, oh, this is a feminist issue, or this is a feminism issue, or this is why life is hard when you're a woman, or something like that. This is just the thing I've noticed personally, that there's stuff that people expect you to do, and there's stuff people don't expect you to do. And so, when you say things like, I don't know how to wear lipstick, someone's gonna say, oh, well, that's weird, you should know how to do that. And even if you disagree with them, you had to hear that. And so that gets into, like, hobbies. You say, oh, I'm fixing my own car. And someone says, wow, that's not a hobby I would expect someone like you to have. And especially when they say things like, that's not a hobby I would expect a young woman to have. You know, you might not agree with it, but you do have to listen to it. Oh my gosh, that looks awful. I love it. Yes, I just propped this up on my sink. And the thing is that it does, like, it's there all the time. And I'd get that all the time from, like, people who would need a jump start on their car, and I'd say, oh, I have jumper cables. And people would say, yeah, do you know how to use them? Like, no, I carry these around for fun. There are two kinds of people in the world, and that is people whose parent taught them how to jump start a car, and people who drive a car that needs to be jump started every third ignition. I don't know why I put on lipstick at 8:54 p.m. Like, I've had people say, oh, do you like working on cars? When I jumpstart their car, I'm like, bitch, I'm the one with the jumper cables. Why are you questioning me? I'm the one who can make your car go, and you're the one who can't make your car go. I've just gotten this all over my face, haven't I? It gets this, like, level of self-confidence that you have to constantly fight. Because even when people are trying to say something positive, and they're trying to say, oh, I wouldn't think that, you know, girls would be interested in that. That's so cool that girls are interested in this. There's this element of, like, people have implied that you should be good at it. On the one hand, you have this, like, why did I get this wrong? I should be good at this. But when I say, yeah, this is a normal thing to be good at, you have this constant feeling of, like, oh, why is this not coming off my skin? Of like, oh, I didn't get this right, I need to try it again. And when people are constantly saying, oh, I wouldn't expect you to want to be good at that, you hit this point where, by the way, this is a lipstick I found that is exactly the same color as my lips. I didn't intentionally buy this, it just happened, but watch. It is exactly the same color as my lips. But so when people are always saying, oh, I wouldn't think you'd be interested in that, when you try something and you fail, there's this constantly present feeling of, like, I should just quit, I wasn't supposed to be good at this anyway. Even when you don't want it to be there, it's kind of there. And that's one of the reasons why I get so secretive about what I'm working on. People say, what are you working on? I'm like, I don't want anybody to tell me that I'm doing it wrong. I don't want anyone saying, oh, that's a completely inappropriate finish, and that's a completely inappropriate technique. Why did you buy the soft bristle purdy brush when you could have bought the synthetic purdy brush? Why did you use poplar when you could have used pine? The action said use pine. Why did you use your jigsaw for that? Why don't you just get a bandsaw? A bandsaw's only $25. All of it's there, and if I stay secretive about it, and secretive about the process, then nobody's going to be there to say, oh, you did that wrong. Because sometimes I need to get something wrong, and sometimes I need to look back on something and say, wow, I did that inefficiently, but I needed to learn that I was doing that inefficiently, and I didn't learn that from someone else telling me what to do. I had to learn that myself. And the fact is, when I'm doing something that I'm supposed to be good at, when I'm doing that with sewing, everyone's thinking, oh, that's so cool and innovative. And when I'm doing it with something that's not my go-to hobby, it's like, oh, you got that wrong, you should go back to sewing. Let people ask for help when they need it, not when you think they need it. Okay, so, do you know what's even more boring than watching paint dry? Just watching polyurethane finish dry. Then we flip it and we do the other side, and that will be the third and final coat, and then we wait. So you're supposed to wait 24 hours. We're probably not gonna wait 24 hours. One of the things that determines how much success you're going to have with a project like this is how willing you are to do the boring things. I've got snot coming out of my nose, don't I? And willing to dedicate time to doing them well. It's saying, oh, I'm not done sanding yet, I'm not done painting yet, I'm not done doing the finish yet. But God, it's boring. So I do need to redo my hair because I cannot have my harp out pink me. But first we're gonna go and get gas. Just for the sake of something to do. I have like a 10-minute drive to go anywhere that does gas, so I love how quiet this car starts up. It's really funny when you go from a 2007 to a 2017 car, and you go from 250,000 miles on the car to 42,000 miles on the car, how different things are. We're not gonna vlog while we drive this car, even if it's legal. So we might have killed my poor camera. I've been trying to get it to be fixed, and it was just telling me turn the camera off and then on again. It's just having problems with life. Which, like, to be fair, camera, so am I. This might be the end of me vlogging on this until I can go grab the other camera, which is boy howdy somewhere. So I'm gonna install the tuners. I have 26 of them. And we will hope that leaving my camera in the corner over here will make it magically better. If I've learned anything from this, it's that I really, really need to get a designated YouTube camera for numerous reasons. The main one being that I think I'm filming a video like this, but I'm filming it like that, and that's just a mess. because my camera won't rotate it, and I'm not smart enough to know how to do that in Final Cut yet. Anyway, what I do know is that I need an actual camera, and my camera is completely dead. It will not turn on, the gears in the schnozzle are just not working properly. I'm gonna get to download all these off Google Drive, too. It's gonna be a bitch in the fuck. It's gonna be a bitch in the fuck. Paint Goswitz 2020. So, we're gonna go down to Fry's Electronics, and I was gonna dress up nice sometimes. I used to always dress, like, hella fucking cool all the time, and I'm just so exhausted right now. I need a new camera, I need to clean shit up, I need to get my shit together, and I need to dye my hair, because I have some neon yellow roots right now. A lot of people have been nice, but like, oh, it looks good. Like, no, it doesn't, but thank you. I've got so many things, I've got so much to do. Sorry, Paul. I'm sorry, Paul, I'm so busy that I just can't help you now. Remember when I was singing the unload 100 boxcars made of lumber? Full of lumber? I don't remember, that was 5th grade, guys. I'm almost 30. I don't remember 5th grade. So we have 3 things that we need to get done today. We need to go look at cameras, maybe buy a camera. For people who don't know, people who aren't in the United States and don't do this, most jobs hire you under a certain category that gives you what's called the W-2 form once a year. And if you're on a W-2 form, then what happens is on every paycheck, the government takes a chunk, or the company takes a chunk of money and sends it to the federal government for your taxes. You spend more money on taxes off each paycheck than you actually pay in taxes. So then at the end of the year, if you're poor, you do a tax return. They say, oh hey, you paid too much in taxes, we're gonna send you some back, and then the government taxes that as income again, even though it's your fucking money. Anyway, since I'm poor, this means that the government sends me about $1,200. This year was $1,000 because I made a lot of money. The more money you make, the smaller your tax return. It's math. I'm not gonna spend all of that on a camera. Last year, I spent all my tax return money on the Korg RK100S, the most broken one on eBay. That's our thing. We're gonna check out spending the tax return, getting a new camera, because I kind of need that, because I hate vlogging on my phone, and I'm gonna hate recording a video on my phone even more. Go to Ace Hardware and pick up another barrel nut, because I broke mine. And then we also need to schedule service for the Bee, because it wants an oil change, and I like prepaid for a ton of oil changes, because I've never bought a car before. I don't know what you're supposed to buy. My father was like, you just never buy anything with that, you just buy the car, but I fucked that up. Maybe if he wanted me to fix that right, he should have come with me when I bought the car, instead of trusting me to be an adult at the age of 29. Yeah. Alright, moving on. Okay, so we're not shopping at Fry's, despite their excellent interior theming. Went in there, half their store's closed, which is fine, there's a plague. And so they didn't end up having anything. I couldn't even find where to look at the cameras, and I hate having a salesperson hover behind me while I look for stuff. Especially the second that someone says, you don't want that, or what you want is this. I am so familiar with having salespeople think I don't know what I'm doing. And telling me, you don't want that computer, you don't want this, you don't want that. I'm like, I actually do know what I want. They only take chip cards, and my chip doesn't work very well. And that's fine, except that the lady was real shitty about it. She was just real shitty about it. She's like, we don't do that, we don't do that. I'm like, see, the thing is, I realized when I started working in customer service positions like that my tolerance for that sort of thing went way down. I'm like, if I would retrain one of my coworkers who I saw doing that, I don't have the patience to do it, anywhere else. And I don't want to be like, oh my god, they're not treating me nice, because she was doing her job, but it was just... And finally I was like, sorry, I can't fucking pay here. She's like, if your chip doesn't work, you can't buy things. I'm like, cool, I'm not gonna buy things. Because I've been training cashiers at my job for 3 years now, and we're a fucking fabric and crafts store. Nobody takes us seriously. Although, actually, I did look up yesterday, We have a list of things to sanitize. It's an internal list, and every couple hours we have to go through the list and sanitize all the things, which is annoying because we are constantly sanitizing these things, but we have to stop what we're doing at 11:30 to sanitize them anyway for the sake of the list, even though they got sanitized 3 minutes ago, because we are constantly sanitizing everything. We don't need to sanitize the carts at 11 o'clock because we sanitize the carts at 10:55. Every time a new cart comes in, we have someone who's wiping them down. Anyway, but the thing that I noticed is that the list says, did you sanitize the front entrance? We're a $2 billion company and nobody could use spell check? Jesus tits. Okay, so I'm covering up the screen with my hand. So we went to, I say we, like you came with me, went into Best Buy. I just rubbed my eye while I'm wearing makeup. Went into Best Buy and it was crowded. I mean, it wasn't like bad COVID crowded, but it was definitely nearing capacity. In our state right now, a building can fill to, I think it's 35% of its fire capacity, which is a really stupid way to calculate this, but it didn't appear to be at capacity. But there was noise, there were people, there was no train theming, and there was no weird mannequin in a dusty dress staring down at us. But there was a guy who did not once say, you want this or you don't want this. He said, what do you want? And then he said, these are good for it. He was great. I made sure he got commission. We got this camera. I'm ready for everybody to say, oh my God, Pink, that's a totally invalid camera and you shouldn't have spent your money on it and things like that. But, you know what? I live on the edge, and most importantly, I wanted a new camera today. Also, I'm just in a, like, shitty mood. I'm going to say that I think the reason that nobody told me what I want was because I was wearing my hat. And, like, no one wants to fuck with someone. You wear a hat, you look like you know what you're looking for.
Man walks down the street in that hat, people know he's not afraid of anything.
The guy was really nice. I didn't get his name, but he was really nice. I did buy this camera as sort of a, like, I walked in and I said, ooh, that looks like the kind of camera I want. And then I looked at 3 more and I just didn't like the design elements of it so much. Which is also how I bought the last camera, which, among other things, survived a rainstorm. A little bit. Actually testing this out. We are back to having the viewfinder on the right, which means that I do have to go back to looking at the camera instead of looking slightly above it to see myself in the viewfinder. But the good news is that this camera uses the batteries I already had for my old B camera, back when B camera was over there. In that camera that just doesn't record very good color. So we are back to this, which is nice. I like this camera, especially because I don't need to buy any batteries for it. While my hair is up processing to become more pink, the reason why we are vlogging is because, a while back, my friend had a tree fall on his car, and that's a bummer. And now we are doing what is best known as semi-redneck, home repair. What I believe has happened, the best of my understanding, has found a cab for the model of truck that he has, and we're just putting the cab there so you can have the bed from the old truck, and we have the bed for the old truck, and we have the engine section for the old truck, and then a new cab, because that's all that got crushed. But because we are in ass crack nowhere and are not a auto garage, currently the new cab is suspended from a very large oak tree, and to remove the old cab, and numerous car airbags, and we are going to place them underneath the old truck, then we are going to detonate the airbags. And I felt like that would be a great thing to test out the new camera with. I'm gonna have to read the manual. Weird. Is that it? Just go, because the anticipation's killing me. Alright. Question number 1. Is it necessary that I keep the windscreen on top of this camera? No. However, do I like that my camera has a tiny furry hat? Absolutely. So I just moved a bunch of the footage off my other SD cards and things like that. This poor camera that has died on us. so that I can get to editing the video that I recorded while I was making the harp, and it's 125 gigabytes of raw footage. So... But for those of you who don't know, you need to tune a new harp about 190 times. This harp, because it doesn't have a thin soundboard, it has an incredibly thick soundboard. This harp needs to be tuned fewer times, but we're still at about time number 100. I haven't tuned it this morning, but I did tune it before bed, and we are now at this point in the harp. We're getting there. We're getting there. The reason that harps need to be tuned so often is just that there are so many points of slippage. We have these sections up here where the tuning pegs are located always shifts a little bit before it settles in place. It's held in with knots back there, so how tight you tie your knots matters. Also, for the record, this knot on this B string, the spline I have on it, I can't hear what I'm doing. The spline on it, isn't thick enough. I didn't use a thick enough spline for that problem. That is going to get sucked through the sound hole and up there anytime now. I can feel it, but I'm not going to restring it. The knots on the back have to stretch and tighten as you tune them. So you tune it and the knot stretches and it goes back out of tune. A normal soundboard does what's called crowning, which is where the center of the soundboard comes up. But because there's no box to hold this to, this one can't crown properly. So instead, it just warps the wood. You can see that curve in the soundboard. That isn't from the wood. The wood lay flat a little bit ago before I strung it. And it's just the force of all 26 strings pulling the wood out of shape. That's where we are right now, you know? I guess that's better if you do the low octave there. Yeah. Anyway, the other thing you might notice if you're paying attention is that on Paraguayan style harps, C's are blue and F's are red, and on almost every other style of harp, F's are blue and C's are red. Go. There's some harp stuff. There's some harp content on the new channel. Camera. Old channel. Turn off camera. Power.